So, buying a property, it's a huge deal, probably one of the biggest moments of your life. But how do you make absolutely sure that property is legally, officially, and securely yours? Well, in Haryana, the whole process has gone digital, and today we're going to walk through every single step. Let's get right into it.
First things first, what even is a sale deed? Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a birth certificate, but for your property. It is the single most important legal paper that proves the ownership has officially passed from the seller to you, the buyer. Once this thing is registered, that's it. It is the final, undeniable proof that you are the owner. All right, so how do we get our hands on this all-important document? Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the online registration, then we'll dive into detailing your property, cover the payments and the official review process, walk through your in-person appointment, and finally talk about how you get that official deed. We'll wrap up with the key takeaways. Let's jump in. Okay, step one. Our journey starts online with what I like to call the digital handshake. This is pretty cool because it means the whole process kicks off right from the comfort of your home. The first few moves are really simple. You're just going to head over to the official government portal. That's eregistration.revenueharyana.gov.in. From there, you'll register yourself as a citizen. All you need is your mobile number, and they'll send you an OTP to verify it. Once you're logged in, just look for deed registration, and then click Book Appointment to get the ball rolling.
All right, now we're getting to the real heart of the application. This is where you have to provide all the specific, crucial details about the property itself and the whole transaction. Getting the facts right here is absolutely key.
So, the very first thing the system is going to ask you is where your property is located. Is it in a rural area? Is it in an urban area? This might seem like a small detail, but it actually changes the next set of questions you'll have to answer. This table breaks it down perfectly. If your property is rural, you'll need to select its panchayat, which is basically the local village council. Now, if your property is inside city limits, you'll choose your MC, or municipal corporation. And for those urban properties that are outside the city limits, you're going to need its Moraba and Kila numbers. These are just specific codes used in the region to identify a particular parcel of land. Once you've got all the property details locked in, it's time to add the people involved. First, you'll enter all the details for the second party, and that's you, the buyer. And then, and this is really important, you have to add your witnesses. So just how many witnesses do you need? Well, the law is very clear on this. You need a minimum of 2. Not 1, not 3, at least 2 witnesses are required for the sale deed to be considered valid. So make sure you've got them lined up. Okay, you've filled out all the details, you've added all the people, so it's next. We're moving on to the next phase, payments and the official review. This is basically the waiting game, where you hand over your application and wait for the officials to give it the green light. These last few online steps are pretty straightforward. You'll upload any required documents, and then the system is going to generate a preview of your sale deed. Now listen, please take a minute and review this document carefully. This is your chance to catch any typos or errors. Once you're positive everything is perfect, you'll go ahead and make the payment, and then submit those transaction details to finalize your part of the process. So you've hit submit. What's actually happening on the other side? Does it just vanish into a government black hole? Nope. Your application has officially entered the internal government verification process. Let's pull back the curtain and see the path your application takes. First, it lands right at the sub-registrar's office. From there, an official, who they call RC1, goes through and verifies all the information you submitted. After they've done their check, it gets passed along to the sub-registrar for the final seal of approval. And here's the best part. You are not left guessing or constantly refreshing a web page. The system will actually send an SMS message directly to your phone as soon as the sub-registrar approves it. That text is your cue, your signal that it's time to move on to the next step. So, you've got that digital approval in hand. Now it's time for the physical part of the process. Think of this as the final checkpoint, where everything, and more importantly, everyone, gets confirmed in person at the sub-registrar's office. Now, before you just show up, there are a few things you have to do. First, log back into the portal. You'll need to pay the stamp fee. Paying this fee is what unlocks the calendar, allowing you to pick your appointment date and time. And here is a super crucial point. You must download and print your appointment slip. You will need to show this at the office. Don't forget it. So who are you actually going to meet there? It can feel a little intimidating, so let's break it down. Your first stop is the RC1 desk.
This officer's job is really simple. They just need to see that the buyer, the seller, and both witnesses are all physically there. That's it. Your second stop is the RC2 desk. This is where they'll capture everyone's digital signature and take your official photographs. And your final stop inside the office is with the CRO, or the Chief Registration Officer. This person is like the final quality check. They review all the verified details, all the signatures, all the photos, and once they're satisfied, they apply their own digital signature to the deed, making the whole thing official. And just like that, you've made it through the final checkpoint. Now we're at the moment you've been working towards, actually getting your hands on that final, official, fully registered sale deed. This is the finish line.
So where does this final document actually come from? The whole journey concludes at the RC3 desk. This is the officer who is responsible for generating and then distributing the final printed copies of your brand new, fully registered sale deed.
Now, this is pretty interesting. The system actually generates 3 official copies. So why 3? Well, one is for you, the citizen, of course. A second copy is kept by the office for their official records. And the third copy, that gets sent to the Ptwari, who's the local official in charge of land records, so they can formally update the ownership details. That update process is called mutation. That was a lot of steps. So let's just take a moment to zoom out and quickly recap the key takeaways from this whole process, just to really solidify your path to secure property ownership. You know, when it's all said and done, this whole thing really boils down to one simple point. And don't just take my word for it. This quote from the government's own portal says it best. The sale deed is the final document. It's what confirms and maybe more importantly, secures your ownership. Everything we just talked about leads to this moment of absolute security. Look, the process might seem a bit complex when you look at it all at once, but when you break it down step by step, just like we did, the path becomes really clear. It's a journey that takes you from a simple digital handshake to a physical document that represents your hard-earned ownership. So the only question left is, now that you know the way, are you ready to confidently take that first step?